Welcome to the Blame Game for Week 3 of the North American LCS. We are a third of the way through the season, so trends are starting to emerge for teams. And with that, I want to remind people that on this show, we only are really talking about specific games, though we often pull data from the entire season. So let's get into it. I bring this up because the first topic this week is FlOpTic's loss to EchoFox. Zig and Lemonation are getting criticized mostly for the horrendous start that FlOpTic is off to. Power of Evil gets some stuff, but it's mostly getting memed on for the preseason stuff that he was talking about. Anyways, let's get into it and see if they are to blame for this game's loss as well. I understand the criticism of these two given the season that they had, and I mostly agree with it. But for this specific game, I want to start in the draft. FlOpTic commits the biggest sin of drafting and picks 3 losing lanes. They take the Ryze and Kog'Maw early on, which are 2 of the best picks still available in the draft. They also grab the Tahm Kench here because there's almost no way that they're able to win lane versus Kalista, and they want to focus on losing gracefully. The problem with this draft comes in the second phase, and specifically the picks around topside. Gnar is a fantastic pick into FlOpTic because one, Zig primarily plays tanks and he'll probably take one into the Gnar, and then second, when he does get counterpick or plays carries, he's unable to effectively establish leads. It makes Gnar a super effective blind pick versus him, and no surprise he locks Maokai in against it, thus completing the 3 losing lanes. They could have banned it or taken it away there, but ended up not doing either. I'm not putting this on Zabutein specifically either. That's not to say the early game is hopeless, however, as they have really good gank assists in both their solo lanes and have Acadian on a carry-style, relatively snowbally jungler, so there is a game plan available for them. Turns out that doesn't work at all either because neither Power of Evil nor Acadian note that Phoenix has gone and warded right there. This early ward scouts out Acadian's aggressive early pathing and allows them to continually track him over the next 10 minutes of the game, basically. EchoFox doesn't actually need to force any action because all 3 of their lanes will win naturally, so they just want to keep their eyes on Acadian. Eventually, FlOpTic slips up and the game snowballs completely out of control. This is actually a really tough one to come to a conclusion on because in this situation, you cannot divorce the draft issues from the player issues. Without knowing who made the actual Maokai decision though, I would say that this is more of a draft and communication problem for this game rather than a specific player's. We'll move on to one of my favorite players in LIRRRRAAAAA. He's off to a really rough start this split and fans are beginning to notice. Well, a lot of people are lamenting the decline of LIRRRRAAAA, but is it as bad as we all think it is? In this matchup, there were a whopping 8 mid bans overall, and it felt like the focus was to make sure that Febiven had pressure on Jensen. They then looked like they want to use this pressure to constantly make invades on Svenskeren, who has looked vulnerable at times in the early games. All things considered, I think this is actually a really smart game plan by Clutch because you're attacking a weakness while limiting an opponent's strengths, but it all gets brilliantly countered by C9. Prior to LIRRRRAAA's doomed invade, C9 spots him on the top side with some deep vision, but the question mark pings come down on the Gromp when he doesn't show that he's going to farm that. This leads C9 to suspect a red buff invade given the mid pressure. Smoothie and Sneaky are recalling on the bot side anyway, so I think they make the decision to send Smoothie up to the top side and protect Sven. Febiven shadows the invade and is the first to roam, so this should be a good fight for them if the numbers are equal, but he backs out once he realizes Alistar shows up. Gnar does have pressure on topside and can collapse first, but GP can be deadly in a post-level 6 jungle fight from anywhere on the map. I think this was a reasonable invade for Clutch that C9 completely sniffed out. The game plan kind of comes off the wheels after that point. LIRRRRAAAA is left playing catch-up duty a little bit in his own jungle, and that allows C9 to go for a blue buff contest and to play around Gnar's topside pressure. Febiven wants to keep up his pressure in the mid lane, but has lost most of his jungle control and gets killed in a pincer attack by C9. Clutch Gaming tries to keep up the invade pressure, but they're now slow on a lot of the plays, and C9 have excellent vision in the river now to see any of these kind of invades coming from a mile away. Licorice starts dominating the top side of the map, which pulls Clutch Gaming apart and allows C9 to start mowing down turrets in the mid lane. LIRRRRAAA's late game team fighting was relatively hit or miss. He had one where he found Sneaky and won his team the fight, and then also died for free another time, and his team is playing from behind, so it's hard to say. I think this is one of those games where to the casual observer, it very much looks like the jungler threw away an early invade on a bad contest, but I think this has a lot more to do with how well C9 played the situation. That's not to say that LIRRRRAAA's early games have actually been good all season because I think he's had huge problems compared to what we've seen out of him in the past, but we'll have to keep our eye on him moving forward. The High 5 Comm of the Week award is actually a low 5 this week. What the hell are these namby-pamby kumbaya bullshit posts by the Reddit accounts of orgs? Is there some secret competition I don't know about to be the most boring social media teams possible? In Overwatch League, people are flaming the hell out of each other on Twitter. Step your game up and leave the shitty puns to Freak. That does it for this week's Blame Game. I had a lot of fun with it because I felt like I was actually learning stuff as I rewatch these games, which is always what you want to do in this situation. So that was really cool. I'll see you guys for Academy. If you don't watch that, I'll see you for the rundown. If you don't watch that, I'll see you on the analyst desk. If you don't watch that, then I won't see you at all until the next Blame Game. Peace. Absolutely not. Shut the fuck up.
La la la, put me on the Blame Game. Hello? Hello, Blame Game.
It's really funny because the mic recorder makes it sound like I'm at the same distance away as I was when I was over there, but I'm like, you know, out here because I have this.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's like, where the fuck is Mark? He's in another room completely, but...
It sounds exactly the same to my ear.
Yep. All right, shut the fuck up.